Hello. There's something really sketchy I've been observing, and I want to share a little bit of it with you because it is sketch. Sketch. And it's a way of how fake news is manufactured, but it has the appearance of being genuine, of being real. Major sketchy. Wow. Okay, so we're going to talk about Vance Luther Boelter here. Some will say Boelter, but it's the correct pronunciation is Boelter. He is the No Kings assassin from June 14th who targeted Democratic lawmakers. One of the individuals had just sided with Republicans going against her own party for correctly ending free healthcare for illegal aliens. As we know, the illegal alien crime rate is 100%. If you don't understand what I just said, you should not be on the internet. We should take your phone away. You need to be on, I don't know, some sort of technology probation of some sort until you can learn how to be part of thinking society. All right, so when this first happened, we saw from police, from the Minnesota police, they had released a picture from the killer's car that had shown he had a bunch of the No Kings protest stickers around. Other videos on this channel, I've pointed out how when the left say "No Kings," that's a surface structure, the full deep structure of which is "No Kings but ours." See, what the left values more than anything is power. They don't want to give up power to anoint and appoint. Remember how they installed Kamala Harris without any sort of a primary, an anti-democratic process? Yeah, she was appointed, sort of in kingly fashion, or in this case, queen, right? So you might say, no kings, but yes, queens. Or more so, no kings, but ours. They want to have all the power. They want to have all the authority. It's not about principles or rules. It's about power. This is why whenever the Supreme Court rules in their favor, the left-wing influencers praise it as one of the most important institutions to check legislative and presidential executive overreach. This is what they say. When they issue something they disagree with, they say, pack the court, pack the court, pack the Supreme Court, protect democracy, protect our democracy, save democracy, pack the Supreme Court, pack the Supreme Court. This is what they do every single time, as we say in the New York Times bestseller on humans. Well, we knew very quickly that this Vance Luther Boelter character was indeed politically motivated against Democrats. It's very common, very typical of this. And of course, a number of evidences came out. But once the mainstream media got a hold of the narrative decision apparatus, that's where a narrative is decided. It's decided what people are going to believe, and then they alter and change facts based on that. So now it is being said officially. Listen to this. This is Daily Persuasion, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'm Joshua Lisec, your host. The claim that the Minnesota attacker, Vance Luther Boelter, who targeted Democratic lawmakers on June 14, 2025, was a Democratic left-wing terrorism, stems from speculation and, what's the next word? You know what it is. You know what the next word is. Look at you. You know. Misinformation. By the way, that's a if you've ever met Natalie Winters, you'll see she's wearing this cute little bracelet that says misinformation, like Miss America, right? Misinformation. Oh, just incredible content. Let's see. The misinformation has been primarily amplified by conservative commentators on social media, such as Jack Posobiec, Rogan O'Handley, and Mike Cernovich. Of course, this character, this killer, he was an appointee of Governor Tim Walz, who is one of the most far left-wing radicals anywhere in the United States. So, of course, he's going to pick conservatives. And this is fascinating right here. This is just fascinating. Flyers with no kings printed on them were found in Boelter's car, which were linked to the nationwide No Kings protests. These protests were associated with left-leaning or anti-Trump groups, leading to speculation that Boelter was in line with these movements. They're calling it speculation. This is according to Reuters right here, by the way. Speculation. So what are they doing? They're hand-waving it away, saying, oh, it's speculation. Speculation and, see, you filled in the blank already. Speculation and misinformation. This is how actual misinformation is made. They're using speculation and misinformation in the same sentence. So then when you see speculation later, your brain fills in the gap of the surface structure to the full, complete structure, the deep structure. Speculation and misinformation. So this is how far left-wing propaganda, remember that phrase, don't believe your lying eyes? This is how they pull that off. This is how they pull it off. Don't believe your lying eyes. Wow. And of course, they have this case against the claim. And this is where it gets particularly juicy. Are you ready for this? I think you are. I think you are. There was a claim in here, in this piece, that he had, the killer, that he has, quote, a history of anti-LGBTQ activism. Okay, so this is on, I'm reading right now the Wikipedia. Okay, so what's that mean? So I click on that link on Wikipedia, and it takes me to the New York Times article, which I can't read, by the way. You have to be a member, a subscriber. Well, isn't that interesting? Source? No source for you. You're a poor. No source for you. Pay for your source, right? And I had to find my way around that, and it turns out that this claim that he is known for anti-LGBTQ content, he once did apparently some sort of nonprofit, NGO, charitable, possibly, work in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, and he once said something. He once made a negative remark about, quote, transgenderism. Okay, so notice how this guy has been framed as an anti-LGBTQ radical murderer. Do you see how they did that? The transgender refers to the T, okay, which is part of the LGBTQ. So they made him this anti-LGBTQ radical. He's a Democratic appointee. He's got the far left-wing protest, which, of course, there was violence, widespread, even against police officers, widespread across the United States during the No Kings protests. This is crazy. But you can see how the sausage is made, so to speak, of propaganda. And then, of course, to top it all off, it says, the attacks fit a broader pattern of right-wing political violence in the U.S., as noted by the Anti-Defamation League, which reported that all 61 political killings from 2022 to 2024 were committed by right-wing extremists. That instantly fails the fact check. 2 words, gory comparatory. Oh, wait a second. They're saying that because Thomas Matthew Crooks, who I literally wrote the book about, they're saying that because he had voted for a Republican candidate in one primary a number of years ago, that he was a, quote, far right individual. He was a donor to Act Blue. He shot up a Trump rally. Make that 60 or 61. Oh, but now they're saying that this guy is a far right individual because he once used the phrase transgenderism negatively, which is anti-LGBTQ coded, which is far right coded, which is, you see what they did there? Now, of course, the ADL is not a real organization. It's a cutout for the far left wing intelligentsia community, let's say. It's like an academic attack dog, you might say, because it has, amongst NPR Americans, don't forget the hyphen, NPR Americans, the ADL still has some credibility and some status as, oh, we're all hoity-toity and intellectual. Let me put on my ascot whilst I listen to Fresh Air on NPR. This is what they do every single time. So now you see from this quick example here how the exact opposite of what happened has been laundered into the public consciousness. We can't even confirm it because of the paywall nonsense. And to top it all off, 61 of 61, it says, over the last 2-year period. Do you remember how in 2017? Steve Scalise, remember that shooting by a Bernie Sanders staffer and supporter over Republicans' opposition to, no, don't remember that? It was a mass shooting. Remember, 9 members of Congress threatened. Remember how Rand Paul was attacked? Do you remember? No, I'm not going to talk about that. No, we're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about any of these things. So what the ADL is basing this on is, well, other mainstream media. So what's the ADL going to cite? The ADL is going to cite and say, look, these places say it's far right wing violence, when those far right wing people are actually far left. It's just that there is a feigned similarity. You see this. I will make it evidently clear. He once said something negative about transgenderism, which you can't even look up, by the way, because it's behind the paywall, which means he's anti-LGBTQ. Oh, so he's basically a Republican, a conservative, because they're all that way. Okay, so he's far right. Thomas Matthew Crooks was far right for trying to take out Donald J. Trump. Yeah, okay. Does anybody buy this stuff anymore? NPR Americans do. Wearing their ascot. This is what they do.